Welcome to the Freely Rooted Mama podcast. Where I am their mother, I make the choice. All right, happy Thursday, mamas. Welcome to another episode. Today we're talking about first trimester nutrients. So super excited to be doing this episode. I'm going to do one on each trimester and the important nutrients that you need to be thinking about as you move through this process of pregnancy. But before I go into each nutrient, I think I have 9 that I want to go through today. The thing is make sure that you're working with your provider. So whether that's your OBGYN, a midwife, a naturopath, nutritionist, whoever you're working with, every human body is different, especially every female body, different hormones, different hormone levels, different dietary needs, different conditions, genetic expressions, things like that may customize some of these nutrients a little bit different for each of you. So make sure you're working with your provider. I'm just giving a general idea of the intakes that you need for these nutrients and why they're so important. But I'm definitely not giving medical advice, nor am I an expert. So make sure you work with somebody. The second thing is we know that throughout all of pregnancy, getting adequate amounts of protein, healthy carbs, and healthy fats is so important. So I want to touch on 2 things really quick with the fats and the carbs. So when it comes to healthy fats, if you're listening to this on the podcast, you can't see my hands, but imagine a circle. If you're watching on YouTube, then you can't see it. Imagine a circle. That is your cell membrane. We have thousands, trillions of cells in our body. Cells are the primary thing that make up who we are. So we want to make sure that these cells are healthy. So the outer lining of your cell or your circle is made up of healthy fats. When those fats are healthy, hormones can get in, nutrients can get into the cell, and waste can get out. So if you imagine like a ton of little highways going around the edge of this cell, we want those open so that hormones, nutrients can get in, toxic waste can get out. What happens when we start to eat unhealthy fats like vegetable oil, canola oil, margarine, safflower oil, sunflower oil, there's a lot of them. You can Google it. Those highways will start to get blocked and they start to get clogged. And when that happens, nutrients and hormones can't get in and toxic waste can't get out. And we know that every day our cells are replicating. So if we imagine on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being a very healthy cell and 10 being a very toxic cell, if we have a bunch of cells that have highways that are blocked, that are 10, and those are replicating on a daily basis, this is how things like chronic disease start to form. Cancer, massive inflammation in the body. So we want all those cells to be 1s. So really important that you focus on healthy fats like grass-fed butter, avocado oil, avocados, olive oil. I know there's more and my brain's not thinking of it right now. I would say it's because I haven't had enough caffeine, but this is decaf, so I can't really blame it on that, but I want to. It's probably just more that it's like 6 o'clock in the morning. So, but Google that and you can find healthy and unhealthy fats. Now with carbs, we want to stay away from, when I say carbs, I'm not talking about pizza, pasta, cookies, crackers, cakes, breads. I'm talking about nature's carbs, beans, squashes, potatoes, wild rice, quinoa, vegetables, like those kind of healthy carbs. Yes, you can occasionally have breads, but I would lean into more of like a homemade fermented sourdough. Same thing with like pasta. Can you get a fresh organic, like fresh milled pasta that doesn't have any cane sugar or oils added to it? So that's more what I'm thinking when I talk about healthy carbs and healthy fats. So we want to make sure that we're getting adequate amounts of those 3 things. But as I go through each one of these nutrients, know that many of them you can get from food sources. So as I'm saying these, it's not like I need you to go out and get a supplement for each one of these. And again, you need to ask your provider. But if you can't get this through food, like I'll name food sources, if those aren't things that you eat, then you may need to look into supplementation. And when we look into supplementation, we want to make sure that we're not getting supplements with synthetic ingredients. I will do a whole separate podcast on like prenatals and supplements, but we really want to make sure that we're getting like true, authentic, whole-based food ingredients, not synthetic. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is vitamin A. Vitamin A is needed for the development of baby facial features, and it's a highly controversial nutrient to talk about because they do say, well, if you have too much vitamin A, then you can cause birth defects. But most of those studies are done on too much vitamin A in the synthetic form, not a whole-based food form. So and a third of women are deficient in vitamin A, so we do need to be working on it. For supplementation, daily intake is recommended to be about 2,500 IUs, with the upper intake being 10,000. So you want to stay between 2,500 and 10,000. And again, we prefer to get it from, food. And the number one way you can get vitamin A is through raw liver. Ugh. If you can do raw liver, props to you, because raw liver is like this golden food. I cannot. I find it disgusting. So I do encapsulated, dehydrated raw liver capsules. So you could do that as well. And then benefits for baby include, like I said, proper development of the face, also helps in thyroid health and birth weight. And other sources that you can get vitamin A through is chicken giblets and grass-fed butter. Love me some grass-fed butter, but I'm not going to hit those daily intake values with grass-fed butter. So I had to do extra supplementation for vitamin A. The second nutrient is vitamin B12. Minimum requirement is between 5 and 10 micrograms per day. Most supplements that you take, so if you're taking a prenatal, hopefully it's not synthetic, but most of them will contain more than 5 to 10 micrograms per day. That's okay. The body will get rid of the excess, so you don't need to worry about if you're taking a little bit more. Benefits of vitamin B12 is for baby, it's involved in synthesis of DNA and red blood cells. Also helps in the production of the myelin sheath around nerves and the condition of nerve impulses. Other foods that you can use are organ meats, fish, cottage cheese, beef, eggs, turkey, and chicken. So if you're vegan or vegetarian, again, you may have to look into some supplementation for vitamin B12. All right. Next one is vitamin B9, also known as folate. We want folate, not folic acid. Folic acid is the synthetic version. So we want folate, and folic acid won't cross the placenta the way that folate does. Folate helps protect the baby from risk of neural tube defects, helps with tongue ties, lip ties, preeclampsia, and placenta abruption. Daily requirements is between 600 and 800 dietary folate equivalents, or DFE, if you're looking on the back of a supplement bottle. Super critical during the first 4 weeks of pregnancy, as this is usually the time when birth defects will start to happen. So those first 4 weeks, really make sure that you're focusing on the folate. Other benefits for baby includes risk of, obviously, defects, and it also helps in the face and heart development. For mama, reduced risk of anemia, preeclampsia, and placental abruption. Foods that you can eat that help support vitamin B9, we're back to the raw liver. Ugh. Lentils, chickpeas, asparagus, strawberries, and beets. Again, you'd have to eat a lot of strawberries and beets to get to that daily requirement. So this may require some supplementation for some of you if you're not eating that raw liver. All right, next up is vitamin C. Most people get enough vitamin C through their prenatal or supplementation. However, if you have a weakened immune system, if you've been tested positive for GBS, if you've experienced premature rupture of membranes or placental abruption in previous pregnancies, you would really want to make sure that you're increasing your vitamin C. Daily minimum that we want to hit for vitamin C is 85 milligrams. Benefits for baby include in the aid of production of collagen to support tissue growth, supports the immune system of baby, helps increase iron absorption, helps increase immunoprotected qualities in breast milk after birth. And then for mom, again, really helping strengthen that immune system, increases iron absorption during rapid blood volume expansion, which happens obviously during pregnancy, reduces the risk of testing positive for GBS, and reduces the risk of placental abruption. Foods to include to help with vitamin C production: camu, cherries, red bell pepper, guava, green bell pepper, broccoli, strawberries, papaya, snow peas, kiwi, grapefruit, orange, mango, raspberries. Vitamin C was one that I definitely, in the second pregnancy, have put more emphasis on, including zinc as well, and I'll go into that nutrient actually next. But I had torn placenta with my first, and I tested positive for GBS with my first. Not that that really worried me. I'll go into GBS at a different time. But I just knew already testing positive for it with my first one that I was going to really make sure that I concentrated on vitamin C more throughout my entire pregnancy this round, versus I really concentrated more on it on my third trimester pregnancy with Isaac. So I've had this stupid lingering cold for the last 2 weeks. So And I'm like, we're at the time of recording this, I'm at 34 weeks. So I really want to make sure that my immune system is strong moving into labor and birth. So I've upped the vitamin C and the zinc, and we already know that the immune system is weakened and lowered during pregnancy, so just really something to concentrate on. And with that, going into zinc, most estimated 80% of pregnant people or pregnant women worldwide do not have an adequate amount of zinc intake. So chances are you might be one of those 80%. It's really needed for moms who have a weakened immune system, again, have tested positive for GBS, or probably eat mostly a plant-based diet. Daily requirement is at least 11 milligrams, and it's preferred that you have, if you're looking at your prenatal or supplements, you want to have zinc biglycinate or zinc picolinate. I'm probably saying that wrong. And you want to avoid zinc oxide, zinc citrate, or zinc gluconate. Those are synthetic forms. Benefits for a baby include helped immune function, protein synthesis, and cellular division. And then foods that include zinc, oysters, oats, beef, pumpkin seeds, pork, and ricotta cheese. The oysters and the liver, man. Okay, next up is choline. So choline plays a big role in your baby's brain development. And the best part about choline for me, in terms of foods to consume, is eggs. I love eggs, and so eggs contain a lot of choline. So if you don't regularly consume eggs or you have the MTHFR mutation gene, this would be a sign to maybe add in some supplementation of choline. Daily requirements are a minimum of 340 milligrams per day, and benefits for baby include decreased risk of neural tube defects, supports fetal development and function of placenta, influences the structural integrity and signaling functions of cell membranes, and it's needed for proper DNA synthesis. Benefits for mom include supporting liver function and helping placenta function. And the cool thing about choline that I found is that large amounts of choline are delivered across the placenta, which start to deplete mama's stores. So again, you want to make sure that you have an efficient amount of choline coming in so that it's protecting mom and baby. But choline concentration is amniotic fluid. It's 10 times greater than it's present in mom's blood. How freaking cool is that? Foods to consume, of course, eggs. We're back to raw liver. Raw liver is like the food of the day. Salmon, Brussels sprouts, cottage cheese, and pumpkin seeds. All right, moving into the next one, which is iodine. This is the most common nutrition deficiency in the world. Your nutritional needs for iodine double during pregnancy, but only about half of the prenatal vitamins out there contain iodine. Some of them may be synthetic forms of iodine. Again, we'll get into prenatals at some point. But iodine is necessary for the production of thyroid hormones, especially important for those that don't eat any seafood, follow a plant-based diet, or have a known thyroid condition. One thing to be aware of is a lot of people will be like, oh, but I eat plenty of salt. Well, remember that table salt is artificially enriched with iodine, and it typically contains aluminum, which is known as an anti-caking agent. It's also bleached white for its appearance and is 100% sodium chloride with no trace minerals. So whereas something like a sea salt is also sodium chloride, but only about 40%, and then it has a lot of trace minerals. So don't just leave like your iodine deficiency to salt. Daily requirements is 250 micrograms a day, and baby relies on mother for thyroid hormones until about 20 weeks, and then baby will start producing their own thyroid hormones. So making sure in those first 20 weeks that you have adequate amounts of iodine is super important. Benefits for baby includes, obviously, it helps with their thyroid function and brain development, and foods that contain iodine, cottage cheese, yogurt, milk, eggs, beef liver, obviously seafood. I didn't put seafood on here because I'm a little weary about seafood because it also contains heavy metals. So you just want to be really conscious about seafood. If you're doing things like seaweed, kelp, raw or fish, try getting fish from cold waters, make sure it's wild caught. Yeah, that's just all I'll say about seafood for now. Okay, magnesium. Over 50% of us don't consume enough magnesium-rich foods. Again, I kind of mentioned on a previous episode that most people eat like the same 10 foods every week. We're in this like repetitive culture, so you want a diverse amount of foods. Magnesium-rich foods would include things like pumpkin or squash seeds, oats, sunflower seeds, chia seeds, nuts, avocados, bananas. It doesn't help that our soils are heavily being deprived of minerals. So if you're saying, oh, but I eat foods and foods come from, foods grown from the earth. Well, our soil doesn't contain as many minerals as it used to. So want to make sure that you're getting enough. Magnesium has also been a big one that I've made sure that I've done a very good job of this entire pregnancy. I am definitely prone to cramps and headaches and things like that. Magnesium is a huge help on that. So I take magnesium every day. And it's really crucial for mom's health, more so than baby's health in pregnancy, because your demands rise about 30% in pregnancy for magnesium. When you're looking at magnesium, you're wanting to look at magnesium glycinate. It's the best. Avoid magnesium sulfate and magnesium oxide, as they are poorly absorbed in the body. And we're wanting to hit about 360 milligrams per day. Again, for benefits for mama can include, it can help with morning sickness, constipation, gestational hypertension, insulin, metabolism, leg cramps, headaches, low back pain. Magnesium is magic. There is a couple benefits for baby, bone health, and required for DNA and RNA synthesis, but mostly for mama. And then the last one I'll hit on is probiotics. So mother's microbiome serves as a main source for infants' microbiome. So having a healthy microbiome is so important. I've talked a lot about the microbiome. Help start increasing the balance of bacteria that will be present in the birth canal and the breast milk. So as we work on microbiome and adding probiotics, it will help in those areas. For baby, obviously, this is going to help strengthen their immune system, improve digestion, lower risk of allergies, asthma, thrush, and eczema. Avoid foods that are going to alter your microbiome. So sugar, refined foods, alcohol, antibiotics. Hopefully you're not drinking too much alcohol. Things like that will alter the microbiome. Super needed if you have had previous, and I kind of talked about this in the preconception episode, but if you have had previous interactions with birth control, antibiotics, steroids, high sugar processed food diet, you're going to want to make sure that you add probiotics and switch your probiotics throughout your entire pregnancy. Don't take the same one every day. And we want it to be at least 80 billion CFUs and multi-strain if possible. Foods that can help increase the microbiome are yogurts, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi, beet kvass, and miso. Again, I have a download of prebiotic and probiotic foods that you can get in the show notes if you want a list of different things to rotate into your diet to help that overall diversity of the gut and the microbiome. But having a good probiotic and switching it throughout your entire pregnancy would be really great. So those are the key nutrients that you need to focus on for the first trimester. I will go into the second and third on other episodes, and I hope that you found this helpful.